I'm 100% sure most of you have never heard about this anime because it's really underrated and it's buried in the depths of mediocre ratings. But I'm also 100% sure if there are any long-time anime watchers, you have definitely heard about this title. And today we will be talking about Air Gear. Another nostalgic anime review, and this one is really my favorite one and really dear to my heart. I believe I watched this when I was like 17 or 18 years old, which is a long time ago. But you also need to keep in mind the expectations were completely different when this anime came out more than 15 years ago. And I totally get why people get turned off when reading the synopsis of this anime. I mean, kids on rollerblades and one of them wants to be the best rider on earth. This is like literally one of the stupidest idea for a shonen, right? Well, under the hood, this anime really packs insane fights, characters and story. And you know what else packs? You, if you subscribe to this channel. But let me first be the advocate on why you should really watch Air Gear and why you should give it a chance. What really starts as an innocent kids, high school, running around on rollerblades, transforms into crazy boss fights, in-depth character lore, and one of the coolest main characters I have ever seen. And I would really categorize it as shonen because really Iki, the main character, battles through the ranks to really be the best. And his personality is really what's key to Air Gear being really good. His character is definitely used in different animes, but I believe not very often as a main character role in a shonen anime. He has a carefree, funny attitude while still managing to be serious when we really need him to be. I would really compare him to Yami from Black Clover. He's also laid back, he's kinda lazy, kinda funny guy, but when shit gets serious, then he really steps up. And he's really like Yami, but without a toilet. And really there are two polar opposites to this anime. You have these like super funny scenes, like and really funny moments, filled with comedy, and then you have these super crazy intense fights with really a serious vibe to it. And contrary to the popular opinion, I think the pacing is pretty good in Air Gear because I think we are constantly being introduced to new villains, new friends, side characters and new plot points. And I think in pretty healthy steps, so you never feel like really bored. And really, I'm gonna say it again, I think the fights are super cool. It really what makes Air Gear really special. Every character, including the side characters, gets their own screen time. So really, it's not only about the main character as it usually goes in shonen animes. And yeah, let's address the elephant in the room. There is some fan service to this, of course, but I think it's a nice addition to the anime, and I think it could have been better without the fan service. And one thing I'm super unhappy about is, as a huge fan of Air Gear, the anime has only 24 episodes. I mean, only in these times of 13 episodes and 12 episodes, I think 24 is the good old times that were more than 10 years ago. We had just 24 episodes animes and that was kind of the standard. But it has only 24 episodes and 2 movies, so if you really get hooked on it, you need to continue with the manga, which by all means, I think the manga is perfect. It's really beautiful. The panels are gorgeous, as you can see. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, to be naive and wait for the creators to make a second or third season out of it, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the animation of Air Gear for that time was also not the best, let's say. Like 15 years ago, we already had some pretty nice animations, so I think the animation is pretty mediocre, but I don't think that's really the main part of the anime. What I think is actually the best part is the music of Air Gear. The opening is crazy good, the ending is crazy good, the OSTs during the fights are crazy, and really I was listening to them for a long time. I think the music like in the whole Air Gear anime is cool, and you can actually like find it on YouTube like as a whole album, so I highly recommend to check it out. And while I think the characters are really cool in Air Gear, like all of them, you can see where the author put the most energy. Like Kogara Sumaru and the whole team like of Iki is really super cool. Each character is very well thought through, and their story, their background, like it's really cool, each one of them. And then you look at some side characters who are really like cheering for Iki, who are, I think they could be pretty cool. They could have like a nice background, but you can see that the author didn't invest a lot of time into them because they are really like just watching on the sidelines and they're not really that interesting. And before we move to the judging part, one thing I really want to mention is character character development. Characters are cool, but their development is even better. Like you see characters like Bucha, Ringo, or Kazu, for example, and mainly Kazu. Like I'm a huge Kazu fan, but I think all three of them and also other characters undergo such character development. They have a lot of struggles, like Ringo's fight with Iki. Like Ringo, she really loves him, but at the same time, she doesn't want him to get hurt. You see how she undergoes this development, and again, the character development is absolutely crazy. With this, I think it's enough with the glazing of Ergir. Hopefully I really convinced you to give it a try. Now we really need to start being objective, and that's why we are going to move into the judging part. This time, to change the things a little bit, let's start with the cons. The first con is definitely the story. Ergir's story is really kind of weak. I know I praised it at the beginning, and I think the story is pretty mediocre. It's like a classic shonen, right? Like in shonens, usually you don't have like super deep stories. It depends, but usually you don't. There is also some fillers. But I think what the biggest issue with the story is, so between the end of the anime and the movies, there is some gap. If you're someone who doesn't really know a lot about Ergir's lore and you're jumping from the anime to the movies, there might be a couple of things that you'll be missing, because again, there is a gap, so you need to really dive deep into the manga. And while I love the movies, I think they were super cool and they were adapting a very important part of the story. I don't think it was really well executed with how they connected the anime and the movies. And second con for me is definitely the fan service. As mentioned previously, I think there are some scenes that were really not needed, like Iki, for example, taking a dump in front of everyone, which I mean, at the time I thought it's funny. Now that I rewatched it, I don't think it was really that funny. Also, all the perverted moments and stuff like this, really the anime could have worked without it. So I think the fan service, while sometimes it's really excessive, I don't think it was really needed. Now let's move to the pros. I think the biggest pros of Ergir are definitely the animation and the music. Keep in mind, the anime is more than 15 years old, so the animation is really not on the highest like the newest Jujutsu Kaisen or stuff like this. And you can also see in the movies that came later, the animation really improved. So I think the animation and music are super crazy. The fighting sequences are super crazy. It kind of gets to the point where you have those cool moments, like surprising moments during the fights, which really keeps you glued to the chair. So I think the fights are super thrilling and really keeps you hooked. Another pro is definitely the pacing. I think the pacing was pretty cool. There were some fillers, of course, but I think there were multiple arcs in the anime, and you have always new villains being introduced and side characters, and the characters are moving. So I think it's pretty cool. I don't think it's really that slow as some other animes, like for example One Piece, where sometimes it's cool and sometimes it gets super slow and there is like a huge amount of fillers. And the last pro I really want to mention is characters and the character development. I think each character is unique, and don't get me wrong, I think this type of characters were definitely in other animes as well. For this specific anime, Ergir, I think the characters are super unique and very likable. I think they're very interesting, and I met a lot of people who, for example, liked Ringo a lot. I met a lot of people who really liked Bucha, for example, and I also like people who like Sora or, for example, Agito. There is a lot of variety in the characters. Now, since we went through the pros, we went through the cons, I glazed it as much as I could. Now let's move to the ratings and let's be as objective as possible. Animation, 8 out of 10. Story, 6 out of 10. Pacing, 8 out of 10. Characters and character development, 9 out of 10. Music, 9 out of 10. And rewatch value, 7 out of 10. My final verdict for Ergir is 8 out of 10.
Very biased.
For those who remember, Ergir and Tenjo Tenge were really the classics, and Tenjo Tenge really took fan service to another level, so I think, but it's also, I think it was also very cool for that point in time. And I think this anime is really for people who like fast-paced action, they like fighting, they like shonen. This is really 100% for you. If you are someone who really likes deep lore, story, world building, stuff like this, I don't think this is really for you. This is really quick and fun. It has some interesting lore, of course, and characters, but I think it's not that deep. In the end, it's really kids running on rollerblades. But for those who decide to watch it, I highly recommend it. And if you do, believe me, we'll be binging it in one night, 100%. And with this, we are at the end of our review. I thank you really for watching and staying here up until now. If you liked the video, don't forget to give a like or subscribe. I'll be super happy if you also leave a comment. I like discussing this kind of things, and mainly discussing Ergir because it's very dear to my heart. With this, I wish you a nice rest of the day, and we will see each other in the next review.